Am I the a-hole for refusing to make amends with my elderly mother after she told me I don't have a mother to protect her favorite son? Things don't get easier even when you're older. My mother used to go out of her way to protect her elder son, the favorite. A few years ago, he was an a-hole to my wife, and I had a fight with him. I expected the family to at least see how his harassment was unacceptable. My mother took his side as usual, and to get me to stop making her son look bad, she said, "You don't have a mother. Consider me dead." I took that to heart. I cut my family off, especially my mother. Now, years later, they want to reconcile. They want me to go back into the family fold, so to speak. My father explicitly said, "I'm not to open any topics or point any fingers. Just forget and come back." I asked, what about my brother's unacceptable behavior toward my wife? It was a misunderstanding. What about my mother's behavior? She's your mother. She can say whatever she wants. You are an ungrateful son. The thing is, the entire family has gone up in arms against me. Uncles, aunts, cousins, anybody I used to be in touch with has stopped talking to me. They're all calling me a POS for not talking to my elderly mother. In our culture, parents are supposed to be treated as gods. I'm emotionally tired. I don't know if this is a hill to die on. They refused to acknowledge my brother's behavior, and I was in the wrong for not handling things differently back then. I'm standing by my wife, and everybody's calling me an a-hole. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. This could be a hill to die on. Sounds like your family will always see you as second best. Well done for sticking up for yourself and your wife. I recently did this exact thing with my family. My wife also had to do it with hers. Our families were constantly treating us like garbage, saying we didn't know anything, and they even said we were terrible parents to our kids. So we finally said screw it, and stopped letting everyone get away with it. It was our first time having our very own family Christmas dinner, in our house, away from everyone. Boy, was it wonderful. When you have a narcissistic family that gaslights, talks behind your back, and tries to manipulate you, get as far away from them as possible. It sucks at first, and it hurts, but sooner or later you'll realize you are much more important, and they should be begging and apologizing for you to come back. With my family, the gaslighting is out of this world. One main example, my older brother always pretended he was short on money, and my mother would make us help him out. All of us. I went on vacation once, and for the whole summer he used my car without telling me. I came back to it filled with garbage and a stain on the seat. One of his kids dropped milk, and he never bothered to clean it. As part of the fight, I proved to them that he makes good money and is just saving it while living off of us. His salary was 15% of the annual school fees of every student in the international program at his school. Imagine how much money that is. They turned it against me and said I am a vindictive person who doesn't want his brother to succeed and that I'm just a miserable person, which made me hate my brother even more at the time. Not the a-hole. You've got to take care of yourself. They clearly aren't taking your thoughts and feelings into account, and someone needs to, even if it's just you. Don't concern yourself with the feelings of people who don't concern themselves with yours. It's extremely difficult when it's your family, especially your parents. I always thought I'd be a decent son when I grew up. Now I'm feeling like a POS all the time. This is by design. You have been put on a timeout, and the whole family was a party to it. Now that you've said, fine, no more family, they realize the united front didn't work. So now comes the united guilt and manipulation. You tell them they made their choice when they decided to demonize you in favor of a bully and a creep. Then block them. That is so true. I feel that was the point, a united front. Next story. Am I the a-hole for having my stepdad walk me down the aisle instead of my father? My parents divorced when I was 6 years old. I was their only kid together. At first, they both loved me, but when they both got remarried, things changed with my dad. His wife had a son who was my age, and he immediately became my dad's favorite kid, and I was pushed to the side. And I was pushed away even more when they had kids of their own. He'd still pay child support and take me on his weeks, but it always felt like I was just a burden on him and his least favorite kid. Meanwhile, my mom got married to my stepdad, who also had a son of his own, but he always treated me like a daughter, and he was always there for me when my dad couldn't care less about me. So I started going to him whenever I actually needed my dad, instead of going to my father. He was the one I went to after getting my first heartbreak, and he was the one I went to when I was assaulted. My father doesn't even know that about me, and I doubt he'd even care I was hurt like that. I've now been with my fiancé for 6 years, and he's the love of my life, and we're getting married this April. Yesterday, my father came to visit me and my fiancé from out of nowhere. He just called me and said he was in the area and he'd love to see me. I said sure. He came to our house and it was him and his youngest son, who's 15. He started congratulating us on getting engaged, since this is the first time we saw him since getting engaged, and he was talking about the wedding, and he was joking whether he should start a diet or if he looks good to walk me down the aisle. I just said sorry, but that my stepdad was walking me down. He looked shocked and hurt and asked why, and I just said that he's always been more of a dad to me than him. He asked if he'd have any part in the wedding, and I said I'd give him an honorary father-daughter dance, which is more than gracious to him, and other than that, he'd just be a normal guest. He was hurt and kept asking if I could include him more. I got uncomfortable and eventually I just asked them to leave and they left. He looked so hurt. Now I'm doubting myself. Am I being too hard on him? Am I in the wrong here? Honestly, some part of me still loves my father, and I miss him so much at times, but those times get fewer and fewer every single year. I do believe some part of him does love me, because sometimes he'd turn into the best dad for a minute every few years. And he'd do something nice for me, but he was never consistent and never was like how he was with half-siblings with me. It hurts so much. Am I the a-hole here? Not the a-hole. It's your choice who you want to include in your wedding and in what role. Technically, your biological dad didn't act like a real dad, while your stepdad was much more involved in your life. Not including your stepdad would be unfair to him. Why would you even want to include your biological dad in the dance? That moment should be for your stepdad. He's the one who truly deserves it. You can tell your biological dad that it was unfair for you growing up to lose your own dad. My stepdad is getting the first and main father-daughter dance. My father is just getting a second honorary one. I mean, I get it. You choose the man who is there for you, and it is fully in your right to do so. But in the last few weeks, I've read a few stories from the father's perspectives, and they were always very hurt. Most of them cut their daughters off after their weddings. I think it's time for a real conversation between him and you without anyone else present. He needs to know exactly why you are doing this. Not the a-hole. You were honest with him. He heard it from you directly. Don't be like the other woman on Reddit who expects money from dad while she has stepdad walk her down the aisle. Me and my fiancé are paying for it ourselves. There was one where the stepdaughter ended up having so many regrets for pushing her stepdad aside in favor of her bio dad who had never been there. Her stepdad was paying for the wedding and was very gracious about all the decisions she made. But after the fact, when she realized how much it hurt him and which of them had been there for her, she regretted having her bio dad involved and not giving her stepdad the full pride of place. Oh yeah, and it damaged her relationship with a stepdad. I remember this one. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my stepdaughter I don't want to be her mom anymore? Hello guys, I decided to share my story here and hopefully gather some input on a situation that is currently causing me some real issues. The short of it, my stepdaughter found some of my old spicy tapes from when I worked in the industry. After finding them, she sent copies to my husband, my mother-in-law, and my father-in-law. My husband already knew I worked in the industry in my 20s, but his parents did not. They have since slandered my name to relatives and tried to convince my husband to end our marriage. When my stepdaughter realized that my husband already knew about my past, she apologized and is now trying to reconcile. However, after the things she said to me and the damage she caused, I cannot bring myself to forgive her or go back to the way things were. Full story. This will be very long, so bear with me. I am using fake names in this story, by the way. I am 36 female and I am married to Josh, 40 male. He has a daughter, Ella, 18 female, who still lives at home and is in her first year of university. I have been married to Josh since Ella was 12 years old. She was on good terms with her bio mother until her mother got married and ghosted her and her father when Ella was only 11. It broke her so much that Josh decided to give it more time before Ella and I would meet. Once we got engaged, Josh finally introduced me to Ella, and surprisingly we clicked right away. We both loved anime and video games, and we would often play video games together and watch different anime together. When my husband and I finally got married, she was a junior bridesmaid, as I wanted her to be a part of the wedding. She was there for the whole process and was very excited for her father and me to be getting married. When Ella turned 14, she finally started calling me Mom, and we were closer than ever. Around 17, her mother came back into her life, and her father agreed to let her see her mother every month. She still called me Mom, but became more distant than she had ever been. At 18, she started calling me by my name. I will not lie, it stung, but despite all that, I still treated her like my daughter and called her my daughter to others. The point of all this is to show you how close we were and how her behavior shifted. About 2 weeks ago, Ella asked me if she could borrow some of my body lotion from my room. I did not think twice about it because she has done that in the past, but this time I noticed she was taking a while to come out of my room. I called her name and she did not answer, so I checked on her. She looked panicked and just grabbed the lotion off my dresser and rushed out. I thought it was strange and assumed maybe she was stealing my lipsticks or something petty. I got a little annoyed but brushed it off. A few days later, we were hosting a dinner for New Year's Eve. My husband's parents and my sister were invited over for the countdown. During the countdown, my mother-in-law received a text on her phone and got up from her seat. She whispered into her husband's ear and showed him something on her phone. At first I was confused but not bothered, until my father-in-law called out to my husband and told him to look at his phone. He did, and his face went pale. He immediately started panicking and asked Ella to talk to him in a separate room. Before that could happen, Ella loudly announced, "Did you know that your wife is a whore?" My mother-in-law immediately showed me the video and started berating me in front of everyone. My sister tried to de-escalate and defend me, but my stepdaughter kept instigating by telling her grandparents that I was probably cheating on her dad. This made my mother-in-law erupt. They tried to convince my husband that I was definitely cheating and that I was not a good fit for him. My husband already knew about the work I used to do and had my back, which only angered them more. My husband's parents left abruptly after a huge argument, during which my father-in-law called my husband a cuck. After they left, my sister left shortly after to give us time to sort things out. My husband dropped Ella off at his parents' house for the night so he could talk to me and cool down. 2 days later, he brought Ella home and talked to her while I was out of the house. He explained that he knew everything about my past. According to him, she realized she had made a huge mistake. She cried and apologized to him and told him that her bio mother told her about my past. At first, she did not believe her until she found the tapes. My husband called me and asked if I wanted to talk to her, but what he did not tell me was that he was next to her and had me on speaker. I ended up saying that I did not feel like I wanted to be near her, and that I did not want to be her mother anymore. She heard everything and started crying on the phone. She told me she was going to stay with her grandparents for a bit until things cooled down. I agreed, and that has been the arrangement up until recently. My in-laws have already started telling people my business and slandering my name because of this, which makes me even more angry at her, since she has had every opportunity to correct them, but has not. I know she is only a teenager, but I cannot bring myself to go back to the way things were just because she apologized. Please, a little help would be nice. Am I being harsh? Not the a-hole. You are not being harsh. An 18-year-old should know better and deserves the harsh consequences of sharing such personal information and videos in the manner that she did. She wanted to disrupt and cause embarrassment. What I don't get about this is how this brat did this to hurt OP. But now that OP said she didn't want a relationship with her anymore, suddenly she is the bad guy? Nah, not the a-hole. Your in-laws all really suck though. Yeah, apply this to the husband's parents as well. They are adults and are doing the same thing publicly that their grandchild did. What could have been an in-family issue, the grandparents have escalated and turned into a whole life-changing issue for their son and his family by taking it outside the family. I wouldn't want anything to do with these grandparents or parents ever again. They're cruel. Sure, the daughter could correct part of this, cheating and name-calling, by talking to the grandparents, but the damage from the rest of the actions taken is done. I doubt the grandparents will even listen or back down now. They're invested in this being public for some weird reason. The daughter's bio mom certainly informed and armed the daughter with the intent to make this happen and used her own daughter to make it happen. Bio mom is just as cruel and horrible as the in-laws. The daughter has a big mess to clean up, and I don't know how much is salvageable, if any. She is her bio mom's daughter. She armed the grandparents just like her mom armed her, and they both escalated with this. She followed this with her own embellishments and accusations of cheating and calling OP a whore. I'm sorry, OP. I don't know how you come back from this, but maybe therapy could help you. The only one I would consider working on a relationship with is your stepdaughter. The only relationship to keep is the one you have with your husband. I wish you luck, not the a-hole. Edit/mini update. I absolutely did not expect this many comments so quickly. Thank you for all the nice replies, and to those who actually want to give their thoughts and genuine advice. I'm sorry if I can't reply to all the comments. I'm reading them all and trying to reply to certain comments in order to give clarifications, but I want to address some things here instead to clear up any confusion. 1. I was 20 when I created my first movie. Yes, DVDs existed back then. I'm confused about how some people think DVD porn didn't exist in 2010. 2. Ella was able to find the videos online using the info on the DVD. No, I don't know the details of how she did it. Although, realistically, it shouldn't be hard to find, as I myself have searched for my content and have found it easily. Her father told me that she had screen recorded one of the videos. 3. I kept the DVDs because my husband had requested that I keep some of the ones he liked. I had never thought that my stepdaughter would snoop through my things, so no, I did not burn or hide them. 4. I do not hate my stepdaughter. I just need time to process things. I am still a human being. 5. My stepdaughter's bio mom is friends with my ex-boyfriend, and he was very involved at that point in my life. That's how she knows about my past. My husband did not tell her. She found out from a third party. 6. Josh and I were dating when Ella's mother ghosted my husband and stopped visiting Ella. Yes, she was 11. We dated for about 2 years before we got engaged. We were engaged for 1 year. During that time, my friends and I got really into Naruto and were binge-watching the show. We were close pre-wedding. We clicked instantly is a bit of an exaggeration, but she warmed up to me pretty quickly after we found out about our shared interest. 7. I will try to update as soon as possible, but I will probably take some time to actually take the advice in the comments. And yes, therapy is an option.